California's on fire. There's a global pandemic. People are getting pulled out of their vehicles in the streets. And people are asking me, now that they realize that things might not always be so great and that they don't live in magical unicorn fairyland, what kind of gun they should buy. Under normal circumstances, my general 3 recommendations that I would give to anybody: Glock 19, Mossberg 500, AR-15 from a reputable manufacturer. That's a pretty simple 3 recommendations right there. And while those 3 recommendations right now still would be okay, I think I need to kind of tailor my recommendations during this kind of current pandemic. And I've been getting asked probably 6 times a day what I would recommend. And it's a hard question to answer right now. So let's kind of dive into it. All right, first, a message from the sponsor of this channel. You guys know him. I love him. Everybody loves him. Franklin Armory. They have been a huge supporter of the channel for a long time. I'm very thankful to have them on board as a supporter. They got their full line of California compliant AR-15 pistols that anyone can go to any gun store and just buy. Right now, yeah, the demand is a little crazy, so you got to wait a little bit, but if you shop around, you might be able to find one in a local store, which is what I've been able to find. They also have their line of binary triggers, which is really cool if you live in a free state and would like to rapid fire some rounds off. Every time you pull, every time you release, it lets a round off so damn fast. They got them for the 1022, which I think is absolutely awesome. If I had to buy one, if they said you could buy one binary trigger, I'd definitely buy it for the 1022. 1, because it's badass. 2, because you won't waste as much money with crazy ammunition prices like they are today. Thank you, Franklin Armory, for supporting the channel. And first, I gotta show you some information. Now, before I show you this, YouTube, if you guys are reviewing this, I am not linking, I am not showing, I am not discussing any specific websites that sell ammunition. What I'm going to show right now is simply charts that show the cost that it currently is. Please don't demonetize me. So, if we go over to here, I'm on ammoseek.com. They're a website that shows prices and where you can find information about where to buy ammo for various calibers. So, in the past, I've basically recommended people to buy either a 9mm handgun, a AR-15 in 223 or 5.56, or a shotgun, right? When we look at the cost of 9mm ammo right now, 60 cents per round. Now, let's put that in context for you. Before everything kind of got crazy, in early March, I put an order for 9mm for 1,000 rounds for $148 shipped for steel case. Right now, if we look at the lowest cost ammunition available on the market right now, it's 60 cents per round. And you can only buy 1 box of 100. That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, 40 Smith & Wesson is a caliber that was very popular for a long time, but with modern bullet and modern ammunition over the last, I would say 5 to 10 years, everyone's basically been switching over to 9mm, and the 40 boys have been kind of saying, I've been kind of upset about that. People have been trashing on them. But right now, the 40 boys are the ones laughing, because if you look at the cost of their ammunition, their ammo is about 50 cents per round, which isn't that much crazy higher. I believe you used to be able to get 40 Smith & Wesson for like 35 cents a round. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me down below. But they're looking at a significant difference, because when the difference of cost per 1,000 rounds goes from $600 to $500, that's a serious difference. That's a whole lot of shooting per cost of ammo, and that's huge. So right now, I'm honestly having a harder time recommending 9mm to people because it's so difficult to find on store shelves, and if you buy it online, which in California most people can't do, and a new gun owner most certainly can't do necessarily without sending it to a gun store and paying a transfer fee, you're probably not going to be able to find it very easily, and if you do, it's very expensive. The cost of 5.56 and 223 ammunition used to be around, if you got Wolf Gold, I think for like 27 cents per round, that was a steal. So anywhere under 30 cents per round was considered a good price. Occasionally you can find Wolf, I think for like steel case ammo for around 22 cents a round, and that was during the Trump slump. But right now it's looking at 60 cents per round for the lowest, And then 70, we're looking at 5.56 that's costing, you know, just normal ammunition for 66 cents per round. That's absolutely ridiculous. 223 is the same thing. Now, there are these two companies here that are selling you steel case for 40 to 50 cents per round, but everything else is basically 60 cents per round. That makes it a lot harder for me to recommend someone looking for their first firearm to go out and get an AR-15 chambered in 223 or 5.56, because it's going to be hard for them to find ammo in stores, and then it's also going to be hard for them to find it online for a reasonable price. In fact, it's going to be impossible to find it online for a reasonable price. You're going to have to settle for a ridiculous price. Now, this brings me up to the conversation of what might I actually recommend to people during this global pandemic. Honestly, right now, I think I would have to kind of change up my recommendations. Based on what you can find, what's reliable, what's a good manufacturer, what's gonna be able to be shot in a caliber that you can actually get a hold of to do some sort of training with, I am personally thinking that it might be time for people to just start settling for a shotgun, settling for a 40 Smith & Wesson, maybe buying an AK instead of an AR, because let me just show you this again. Here is the cost of 7.62 by 39, the common AK ammo, 28 cents per round to 30 cents per round. That is half the cost of 5.56 for ammo that's meant to work in an AK. Steel case is basically all you should be running through an AK unless you want to get real fancy and run brass. But this is available at every single manufacturer. It seems like it's just, you know, about 30 cents per round. I'm scrolling and scrolling. It took me a long time to get to anything that wasn't in the 30s. And at this point, it's, you know, a little bit nicer. It's the hollow point stuff, the Silver Bear. But 30 cents per round for an AK, that's pretty nice. You can get a Wasser 10 for about $8.99 if you can find them in California or anywhere, really. You can get a Z-Pap, which don't buy the Z-Paps. I need a Z-Pap. I'm trying to find one. If anyone finds a Z-Pap M70 with a bulged trunnion online, send me that link ASAP. What you can buy doesn't matter if you can't find ammunition for it. I've still been able to see 7.62 by 39 sitting on some store shelves when I happen to pop in. It's a lot harder to find 5.56 or 223. It's even harder to find 9mm. So that brings me to, right now, what would I recommend people buy? If I had to give you 3 recommendations, what would those be? The first one would be a handgun chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, simply because if you don't have anything else, you're probably going to have an easier time finding ammunition. It's probably going to be easier to find one sitting on a store shelf. You can always get a 9mm conversion barrel, so with the Glock 22 or the Glock 23, you can get a barrel that converts from 40 Smith & Wesson to 9mm. Now you have one gun that shoots 2 calibers, which during a time like this, the people that thought ahead and bought their 40s and then bought a conversion barrel for 9, those are the real big brain. Those people really thought ahead. Those are the ones that really are going to be coming out ahead on all this. You then look at for maybe a rifle or a shotgun. Shotguns, you know, the ammunition is still available. You can still find shotgun ammo on the shelves. Double-aught buck is still pretty available. You can get practice ammo like birdshot still pretty easily. It's not too crazy expensive for what it was. So a Mossberg 500, a Remington 870, a Maverick 88, any good, solid, reputable manufacturer that's been around for a long time that's making a shotgun, go ahead and go with one of those. Run it, get good with it. If you can find them with the 18-inch barrel or the 20-inch barrel, that's preferred. If you can only find them with the 28-inch barrel, oof, you're going to have a hard time clearing your house or using it in a self-defense situation. But you can always buy the aftermarket 18-inch barrels later on, but it's an option that you have. For a rifle, during times like this, honestly, it's starting to look like the AK boys really had it figured out. An AK-47 like a Wasser 10 or a Z-Pap or anything from Atlantic Firearms, I don't recommend you buy any Century arms like the Visca. Don't buy those. Don't buy the C39V2. Don't buy the RAS-47. Avoid Pioneer arms. Avoid Riley Defense. PSA is a good option. So for good options, it gets a lot harder, especially in California, because the SLR by Arsenal are a little bit harder to find. But I'm going to talk more about AKs at a later date. I need to get one in my hands first so that I can discuss all of the compliance options in California, but we'll then discuss what I might actually recommend for those. because it gets hard. AKs, you can't just grab one off the shelf and know it's good. People say, oh, AKs are reliable, you can't kill an AK. But you can make a very poorly made AK that will beat itself up and eventually blow up on you. And a lot of the American-made manufacturers that are using cast trunnions and cast parts, there's a lot to it. So if you're looking for AK recommendations, I recommend you go to reddit.com/r/AK47. Look at their buyer's guide. They've got recommendations as far as good, bad, and do not buy. Times are tough. Finding guns is hard. Finding guns that are good is even harder. Finding ammunition for those guns is almost impossible sometimes. If you need more recommendations, feel free to have those discussions down below. Maybe someone can help you. If you live in a certain area and you're trying to find ammunition locally, honestly, my best recommendation that I can give you is simply waiting out at stores, figuring out when they typically get their shipment. Some of the big box stores have set days where they get ammo and send it out. Maybe call in sick from work that day. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you to do that. But it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But if you can connect with people locally, they might be able to help you out. They might be able to find you a plug for ammo. If you have any questions, drop those comments down below. I want to say thank you to everyone that supports the channel. Thank you to everyone that supported on Subscribestar after the switch over from Patreon. I really do appreciate all of you. This year has been great for me. The channel's been doing excellent. And I'm just so thankful to have everyone on board with me. We might hit 100K by the end of the year, but at this point, it's kind of, the growth is kind of tapering off. But I was not expecting to hit 10K this year, so for us to be at 60 is just kind of absolutely insane. And I'm just so thankful to have everyone on board. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone that supported on Patreon. Specifically, I got to say thank you to Jacob Munoz, Mongoose, which we got some cool stuff coming, Scott Bloss, Tyrannical Banana, Thickcock45, Larry Thickers, Nutmapantsy, Justin White, Cunter Cannon, Truby666, Megastab06, Anthony Vanderboon, Nathan Wangza, We the People, and Baranoni. If you would like to have your funny, creative, or just normal person name read at the end of one of my videos, I will do that if you join the Subscribestar with the celeb status tier. Thank you to everyone that supported the channel. It's really cool to have people that have been able to help me keep this going. The amount of money and time that I put into this channel would not be something that I could do without you guys supporting the channel through liking, commenting, and subscribing, and supporting the channel monetarily. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, so before I end, I actually do want to show you this. So Chrissy Herrera, she's been a supporter of the channel for a while. She's always in the comment section, always in the live streams. She asked me a while ago some advice on starting a channel, which is a question I get asked probably weekly. Someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. What equipment do I need? What should I do? Do you have any advice? And I give pretty much the same advice to everyone. No one ever follows through with starting a channel, and Chrissy actually did, and she made a video about how she got her gun during the pandemic, kind of just detailing her process. And I think more people sharing their experiences with gun ownership, specifically in the state of California, is important. Not enough people are comfortable talking about guns, and for her to do it, I think that's awesome. I'm gonna have a link down in the pinned comment or in the description or something to her channel, but go ahead and check her out. If you guys end up taking my advice and starting a channel of your own, maybe DM me a link of what you've done. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I'll shout you out. I don't know. I can't promise that for everyone.